This is a machine that has potentials for even someone betting $1 a spin. I've seen massive wins on low bets on those machines. I got reinvigorated, and he said, you have your niche. You need to just focus on that. Any other month, it was a Mercedes or it's an SUV. No, I win the Ford F-150 truck. I'm barely 5'1". Not only can I not get into the truck, I cannot drive this thing.
Welcome back, everybody, to the SlotsFan Podcast. We've got another fantastic guest on the show today. It's Kathryn from KDC Slots. Kathryn, we're so happy to have you here on the show. Before we get started, I just want to say a couple quick things. Everybody out there, especially those of you that like Huff and Puff, please follow the link in the description and check out KDC Slots. It's a really awesome channel, and particularly for Huff and Puff lovers. While you're at it, we really appreciate it if you subscribe to SlotsFan Podcast. We release a new influencer interview every Thursday, and we get to go behind the scenes with people like Kathryn to find out casino tips and talk about their biggest wins and their experience as YouTubers. So really appreciate it if you subscribe. Come back. We have a premiere every Thursday at 4 p.m. Pacific. Kathryn, now that that's out of the way, thank you so much for coming on the show. We were talking a bit before we started taping, but I've seen your channel a lot. I haven't seen your face all that much. And I think you're starting to kind of show your face on the channel, but it's so nice to put a face to the channel that I've watched before. And we really appreciate you coming on the show today.
Of course. Thanks for having me.
We talked before the show as well about this rapid fire question. It's kind of like a 20 questions thing we've been doing, and we want to kick off the interview with that. So if you're ready, I'd love to start asking you some of these rapid fire questions.
I'm ready.
Okay, here we go. I think I know the answer to this one. Your favorite slot machine?
Right now it's Huff and even more Puff Grand.
Okay. I guess even within Huff and Puff, there's a lot of different game versions to choose from. I'm so excited to talk to you about the game and also about, what you've been able to do with it on your YouTube channel. In your opinion, this is question 2. What's the most overrated slot?
Oh, people are going to hate this. Dragon Link. They're going to hate it, but I do well on it, but it's not okay. My favorite.
I sometimes have a Huff and Puff game screen on my monitor there, and when I have asked people this question, and they have answered Huff and Puff before. So
yeah, a lot of people hate Huff and Puff.
Okay, question 3: the best destination casino resort.
Ooh, so I honestly, I'd have to say. Personally, I love Caesars Las Vegas. I know it's old school. I know it, but it's where I feel really comfortable. I get to play my machines. I can't record there though, so
okay,
that's my only kind of holdup. But I enjoy all the parts of a casino, not just the slots. So for me, it has to have all the amenities, the pool, the restaurants. So
well, that kind of segues into the next question, which is best loyalty program.
I mean, I'd have to say as well, Caesars, they treat me really well. And, when you use a credit card that gives you points towards that too, you really bump up your status, which really helps us take beautiful trips to Vegas and other properties that Caesars owns. So
it's cool to have one that's linked to so many different properties all over the country.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. Best slot game developer.
Oh my gosh. I actually don't. Is it AGT that makes
IGT? I think
IGT.
Yeah. Hey, it's okay. Sorry. I don't think everyone knows game developers.
I know some of them, but whoever makes Huff and even more, or the Huff and Puff series is my favorite.
Fair enough. Your favorite slot influencer?
Gosh, there's so many. I really love a lot of them. I'd have to say for me, it's Lady Luck, because to see a female in that top, tier of a very male dominant world in the slots community, she just stands out. She's so excited with every win. And yeah, sometimes she's spinning 500 a spin. And it's you can't be too too shocked you got a hand pay, but I enjoy the content. I enjoy her energy. And actually meeting her in person, sometimes you meet somebody and they're not what you were hoping. She was more than that, and her husband as well. So I feel like they're two people that I actually kind of look up to as like, something, I don't know, inspiration for
Yeah,
a female in this world.
that's a really interesting answer, and I totally agree. I mean, she's like a pioneer in the space.
Hmm.
Okay, question 7. Classic 3-reel machines or new video slots?
New video slots.
Question 8.
I don't have enough patience.
I think I know all your answers to these. High volatility or low volatility games?
Hi.
Okay, here's one. Hold and win or traditional like free spins bonus rounds?
Free spin bonus rounds.
Question 10. The most common question that you get asked in comments or in chat on your channel?
Why my voice is so annoying.
Oh, I don't think that's fair.
Actually, the number one is why I bet so low.
Okay. Question 11. The most common casino myth people try to convince you is true.
That turning up your volume all the way means you have a higher percentage of winning.
Really, eh? I'm going to come back to that one. Next question. Most annoying slot player behavior in the casino?
Oh gosh, this is a big one for me. There's a lot. I'd say the number one is standing behind me when I'm in a bonus or I'm playing. I just don't want people just standing and watching. It gives me the heebie-jeebies. But when the people are banging on their machines, it really drives me absolutely nuts. But I
Banging on
got
the
a good,
screen or like hitting the screen?
I got a good like laugh in your face when someone did it and cracked the screen, and immediately the slot attendants were there and they had to pay for that thing.
That's
So
crazy, right? That can't be cheap.
yeah, but it happens more often than and it leaves the machines damaged. The buttons are damaged. We want to go play, and I don't know. The banging on the machine is just, it's too much.
I think that was one of Dan's answers to Dan Goodlife.
Yeah, he
Okay.
and I share that.
Question 13. Which is worse, playing for a long time and getting nothing, or hitting a bonus and barely getting anything back?
I'd rather just play for a long time. And if it keeps
Mm,
giving me little payouts and keeping me around what I started with, that's kind of my style of play anyway. So that's kind of what I prefer.
okay. This next one's a little confusing, but would you rather become a huge slots YouTube star but have absolutely terrible luck on slots, or never get another view or subscriber but run like God every time you play?
Probably the second one, sadly, because there are a lot of slot channels that don't do well in the casino, and it almost starts to look like a burden for them to have to
Mm,
go record. And I never want that to be me, because I get so much joy from going and playing slots that to have that taken away would be a huge bummer.
that's really interesting. I think it's the people that have that authentic passion for what they're doing, whether it's slots or anything in terms of YouTube and social media. Those are the people that people really want to watch doing it because they truly love it.
Yeah.
So that's a cool answer. Okay, next question. When you hit big, how much of the win is going back into the machines that day?
If I hit big, I usually get it in a check so that I cannot put it back. So yeah, for instance, the one of my bigger wins, I took only 2,000 of it and played with that and left the rest in a check and paid off my car. So
Nice.
yeah, you have to do something with it quick so you don't give it back.
That's really good advice. On the topic of big wins, tipping on big wins, yes or no? And if yes, how much?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I tend to tip, if I'm getting like a $1,200, it's between 40 and 80, sometimes 100 if I'm just hitting a lot. If it's just a one-off, it's not that much. But when I've hit my bigger wins, it's a couple $100 that I give them.
Free play or room and food comps?
Oh gosh. Well, I usually get both at the places I play, which is why I play at the places I play. The ones that don't offer me stuff, I really don't go. But I turn my free play is kind of my golden ticket. It's how I really build what I'm going to play with, for whether it's a trip to Vegas or it's just at my local for the day. It's kind of sets the tone of what I'm going to have to play with. So I really manage my free play wisely. So I'd say free play because you can turn it into a lot, and you'll usually get the other stuff paid for if you play enough while you're at the casino.
Right on. And the last question, and maybe we could extend the answer a little bit, but what's the biggest win that you've ever had playing slots?
Single win was on Huff and More Puff. So the one before the evens came out. I won the $15,000 plus grand on the wheel.
Wow. That's exciting. Yeah. Is it on video on your channel?
So I was recording all day and I was not doing well, and then I hit a little thing at Buffalo Ascension and I was like, ooh, I've got a little ammo. Let me go back to my favorite. And I'm playing and I'm not recording because I'm like, oh, it's gonna be the mini again on the wheel. And so I just let it go, and then I look up and it was the grand, and
oh my God,
just there it was. So I got the tail end of it. I was really ridiculous. I was crying. Some guy was like cheering, and it was a very emotional moment because it was my first huge win. I had never won something that large.
How long ago did that happen?
That was in March of 2023.
Okay.
So yeah.
How long have you been playing slots? Like before I know your channel is like about 3 years old, or a little over 3 years old, something like that.
Yeah. I've been playing since I was 21. The minute I could play, I've been playing.
How did you get exposed to it? Was it like a family thing? I know,
Yeah.
Yeah.
My grandfather was a big horse race guy, and my grandmother was a huge slots fan. And so eventually when she moved out here years after, they were all on the East Coast. So we would go to Atlantic City, we would go to Ocean City, all these places in the East Coast when we were little. But when she moved here after my grandfather died, she would need someone to take her to the casino, and my mom wouldn't take her because she didn't like the smoke. So I would take her, and at that point the closest casino was over an hour away from here. I live in Northern California, so there's not that many casinos. So it would be a long drive, but she would be so happy just with her $150 on her machine, and she would get really lucky. And I just always loved seeing the joy that she had playing. And so when I was able to, I played, I dabbled. I never was like I am right now, where, but I also think once you start getting more offers and comps and things, you're more inclined to go, where for a long time I hadn't been to Vegas in like 10 years at one point, until just a few years ago. I went for the first time again, and it was like, okay, this is what I've been missing.
I'm really interested to talk to you about Huff and Puff, because I think you must have so much experience on all the different games. How did you, was it the case that you really loved the game and you started playing it, or was its popularity on YouTube a factor? And does it continue to be a factor in terms of your interest in it? Do you think it's a great game? Tell us about how you got it, because it seems like your channel's like it's found a really great, powerful niche with Huff and Puff content.
It has, which is wild, because for a long time the casino I play at didn't have any of them. The only one we had was the original, and it was the only high limit, and I didn't play high limit at the time at all, so I wouldn't even touch it. And so I was like, when am I going to be able to play this game? And when we finally got Huff and Puff, I would sit there for hours and play it. I loved it so much. Um, I don't know what it is. Maybe it's the sounds. I do really well on it though, too. If I was constantly losing, I probably would have stopped playing it and never gone back. Which I have with other machines that have come out, and I'm like, this is not for me.
Yeah.
But when Huff and even more Puff came out, it's like, forget about it. I'm done. And then when the grand one came out, I was like, you guys are making this too much. What I love about it is there's so many ways to get a bonus. The tail can wag, you can get extra hats, you can get the howl, or you just get it naturally. And I just felt like this is a machine that has potentials for even someone betting $1 a spin. I've seen massive wins on low bets on those machines because all it takes is one crazy thing to happen on that machine and it spins and you win the grand.
Yeah.
I was only betting $2.50 when I won my grand on that machine.
That's amazing. I think, it does such a good job of combining a really fun and entertaining and like rich experience game with so even when you're not, there's the possibility of winning big, but even when you're not winning big, it's such a fun game to play that they really hit on something. And it's such a bonus heavy game. It's kind of like what you see with online slots over the last like 5 years. These games are super high volatility. They're really fun. And like the experience is great. And the max win is just enormous. And so I think all those things add up to a really fun experience because there's that like anticipation or the possibility of a really big win at any time.
And that's what it is for me on those machines. I just find myself always going back because, I can play Dragon Link and sure, I'll go up and down and maybe I'll hit something big. Sure, I've hit a grand on Dragon Link. I'm not knocking it, but it's just the potential with what I bet on any of the Huff and Puffs that I mentioned. I'm not a fan of like the Money Mansion one. Those ones aren't the Power 4. I'll play them, but these are like my go-tos.
So you legit love the game and you've been able to get these wild results on YouTube with this content.
Yeah, and what I wasn't expecting is what has happened with the Huff and Even More Puff Grand posts videos that I put up. I had never played it until it came into our casino in May, and I sat down the very first time and got the palaces. And it was like, I haven't gotten the palaces since. I didn't realize how hard it was to actually get that.
That always happens when you start out, right?
Yeah. So, once I started playing that, I posted the video, and to be 100% honest, I had sadly slightly shut down my channel about a year and a half ago because I work a lot. I have a big family of grandkids and my own child who's still, in school. And so I just felt overwhelmed trying to keep up with it all. And so I would post here and there, my friends like Dan and would say, you know what, you work so hard, you got monetized, and, just to shut it down, post when you are able. And he's given me great advice because once that video kind of went viral with the palaces, I got like reinvigorated, and he said, you have your niche. You need to just focus on that. And I said, I took so much footage that day that I have videos for like the next 3 months. And so thankfully, I have people like that to tell me, just be consistent. If it's that you can only do one video a week, that's what you can do. And sure enough, I've been following that kind of protocol, and they only want the Huff and Puffs. I tried to post one, which I did amazing on.
I see Phoenix
it was an
link. I see
ultimate
Buffalo
fire link. Yeah,
There's a few other ones.
I win the grand on Buffalo Link. They're like, yeah, no. If I get like a mini hand pay on Huff and even more Puff grand, it's like we're watching it.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's also that YouTube's so good at, or it operates so much on trying to understand like what are you posting and who are the people that will respond positively to it, and it's
Mhm.
niched down so much in slots content that like you can see some. It's just wild that you can have such a big range of views. Like Alternate Fire Link, 687 views from 13 days ago.
Yes.
Ultra Wheel Upgrade, 40,000 views from 4 weeks
Yes.
ago.
I
Crazy, right?
mean, even the one I posted this week, it was like, okay, now we're back to Huff and Puff. People are starting to watch again. So, you know, I I love that they call me the Huff and Puff Queen. I personally like think it's hilarious and I kind of love the title. So I'm embracing it because it's a machine I absolutely love to play.
Yeah.
And if you told me that was the only machine I could play for the rest of my life, I'd be like, great, that's what I'm playing.
That's a good question we can put in the rapid fire thing. If you could only play one machine for the rest of your life. I feel like
It
slots
would be
players
Huff's and
they
even
just
more
want a
Puff
machine
Grand.
that's paying. Any
Yeah,
game, it could just be like tic-tac-toe, and if it's paying out, people are gonna be their favorite game.
that's the thing. Like I get ripped on a lot on my channel in the comments about my low bets. If you had hit this on a $50 bet, that's not my budget. And who's to say it's gonna hit on that bet?
Yeah. I get way
It
more
hits on the bet I do. So
I get way more excited about the low bets that win big. Like that's so much more relatable for me. Like I don't, $2 spin is a big amount for me in my
yeah.
budget and what I'm comfortable with. And to think that you could win $15,000, and hitting a grand, that's what's exciting for me. Like it's great if you're Lady Luck and you can bet like that, and that's cool. But yeah, I love what you're doing, and I think that bet size is like really exciting for regular viewers and regular players.
Yeah, and I get that feedback a lot. People DM me on Instagram or they'll put a comment publicly and they'll say, "Thank you for playing bets that are realistic that we can play and really see what the potential is with those bets." I just did a live stream last weekend and I tried to go in thinking, "Oh, I know Spooky Link. I can play a 5-cent denom." It wouldn't hit. I mean, I was down. I was down to like the last $50, and I said, "You know what, guys? The guy that was on here for 2 hours was hitting on a dollar. We're gonna do a dollar." And sure enough, the haywire feature came out. I hit the triple pop, won over $350. So it's like it shows people that you can really go with $100 and play for a long period of time and really enjoy what you're doing and not, you know, demolish your savings account.
Yeah. I mean, we try to make that message really clear just about and I saw it in your description on your channel and something that you
Mhm.
talk about, just having an entertainment budget that's set and not going above that. And, if you can do that, then you can have a lot of fun. And
Yeah,
even if you win big and you want to like splash around with that, that's still within the rules.
definitely.
Yeah.
I always give myself a little cut of the top. And then I also give my husband a little bit when I get home when I have a big win, because he's so supportive of letting me go to these casinos with people he doesn't know and holding down the fort. So it really has been able to support me. So when I come home with a big win like that, he gets a nice chunk.
That's really nice. You mentioned, and like anecdotally, I can support the idea that sometimes it feels like when you're changing bet size, when you're changing something up, it can like change things up, or maybe like feels like just banging your head against the wall doing the same thing. And when you're in like a not so lucky streak, doesn't always work. It
Right.
reminded me of one of your responses in the rapid fire section. There's lots of myths out there. People think that those things really do have a bearing on things, when that's probably not the case, or it's not the case. You mentioned the most common thing people try to convince you of is the volume of the machine. People really try to convince you that the volume of the machine. Could you explain why they what's their argument when they try to convince you that that's true?
Yeah, I think a couple years ago, one of the bigger channels mentioned that you may have a higher odds of getting a payout if your volume was at max.
Because it sounds kind of related to this idea where it's like playing machines in more visible areas, like at the ends of the aisles or where there's higher foot traffic.
Oh my
They're
gosh,
set to
all those.
win more so that people will like get the impression that people are winning or something.
Yeah, none of those. And thankfully, I never fell into any of that stuff. I mean, I just play whatever I feel like. When I walk up to the bank of 3 Huff and even more Puff Grands, to be honest, I'm going to play the one with the biggest major. That's usually how I pick.
Why would you not?
Yeah. But then there's times where I'm like, you know what? This one just is giving me a different feeling today, and I'll move over and then that one hits. So whatever's in my head is usually go for the bigger major is kind of my usual go-to. But sometimes it's just a feeling, and it's never where the slot is or that kind of thing, or someone just won or wasn't losing on it. I try to not focus on that stuff and just play what I feel.
I do this kind of the same thing where like if I have a feeling about something, I'll probably, and there's no downside to it, I'll just go with the feeling anyway, because it's all random unless there's some massive like better, bigger major or something like that. But
right.
You never know with these days with all the crazy quantum science they're figuring out. Maybe you can somehow interact with the future reality. Turns out everyone was right.
I know. I wonder what might happen with AI and knowing what slots to play.
You got to think people will try to use like visual recognition AI to analyze slot machine like results.
For sure.
Yeah.
Oh, gosh.
Okay. The other thing that I had written down was you mentioned, and I read it in your description, I think you mentioned casino prizes. I would love to talk to you about your biggest wins. And you told me before that includes actually like a prize. You won a truck, and you learned some lessons about what really happens when you win one of those prizes that you see at the casino, which is like win this sports car that's worth $75,000. Can you tell us maybe the backstory and how you won that, and then some of the lessons that you learned going through that experience?
Yeah. So it was 2 years ago, and I had been at the casino more than I usually would have been, only because my husband and son had COVID and I had to leave the house. So he mentioned, why not go to the casino? You have free hotel rooms. So I did. And I gambled a lot more than I probably normally would have, because, it was work remote time. I was working by the pool, and then I'd go play. Long story short, I earned a lot of points for a raffle they were having the following evening. And my older son was like, hey, we're going to go. I said, I don't want to go. I just checked out of my room. Like, I'm home now. They're like, come up. So I go begrudgingly. And in the first raffle, I hear my name for like $1,000 in cash. Amazing. I won $1,000. Great. We go to dinner, and I said, I'm going to go home now. I've already won a prize. And the lady at the table next to us says, oh no, you're re-entered every hour. I said, are you sure? I mean, I've already won something. She says, yes, every hour they reset. So I said, okay, I'll play a little more. And sure enough, I'm playing. I've had a couple glasses of wine, and I hear my name, and I'm kind of looking around at the lady next to me, and I'm in a bonus on my machine. And they're like, you have 3 minutes. And I start running, leave my machine, and my son and all his friends, I hear them screaming from across the
where
casino.
Are you?
They're
Your
like,
son sees that truck.
Mom!
He sees himself driving the truck.
And then I run up, and they confirm it's me, the winner. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I won. And of course, any other month, it was a Mercedes, or it's a beautiful, SUV. No, I win the Ford F-150 truck. I'm barely 5'1". Not only can I not get into the truck, I cannot drive this thing. And I'm like, okay. So they call me Monday. They said, come up. You got to pick out your truck. And I was like, okay, because everyone was saying, you got to take the truck. Don't take the payout. Don't take the payout.
Like value-wise, they give
Yeah,
you
because and in my head, I was like, the truck's worth $53K, the payout's 30. Oh, in my head, I'm like so excited. I'm taking the 53. Little did I know, you get there, you pick out the truck, and okay, taxes, licenses, that was almost $8,000. I had to pay on the spot. They delivered my truck a couple days later, but my plan was to sell it. Unfortunately, the minute it's driven off the lot, it depreciates drastically. So I ultimately had to wait for the pink slip to come, which took a month. So there's this giant Ford F-150 in my driveway, which on Google Earth is the picture of our home. There's that truck, just as a reminder. And I sold it to a local, dealership, and in the end, I net profited about $2,000 because in the end, it added 53,000 to my already income and my husband's. So
really well.
jointly, we got screwed. And in the end, I would have rather just taken the 30K, walked away, and know that's going to be added as income because I can't offset it with my losses. It's different than your jackpot wins,
Okay.
where you can offset at least some of it with losses. Which another thing a lot of people lecture me on my channel is when I say I don't want to hand pay, it's because I don't want to hand pay when it's 12:01, because I do win more than I lose. I do pay taxes at the end of the year because my losses are not what my wins are. And I know that's not common, but it is the truth for me. So when I say I don't want to hand pay on a 12:01, it's because I really don't.
Right.
The more I can have under that tax bracket, the better it is at the end of the year.
I mean, even that's a great reason to not play higher where you're going to be hitting hand pays more often, and risking more money to do it.
Yeah. And, my biggest bet ever has been $25. And it was because I had just won the 15K on Huff and Even More Puff, or Huff and Puff. So I said, why not? You have a chance to win $1 million, on the $1 million Dragon Links. But I wouldn't play $25 on like a Huff and Puff game.
Yeah. When you mentioned a couple grands that you've won, Huff and Puff, or Huff and Even More Puff, and Dragon Link, you mentioned. Which was more exciting? I know the mechanism's different between those two games. I've interviewed some people who have won, like gotten all 15 balls on Dragon Link, and watching the videos of that happen, it's like such an exciting moment. Like, you get the 14, like you get it sometimes, but to like see it actually happen. What was that like for you? And how did it compare to the grand that you won on the wheel in Huff and Even More Puff?
So that one wasn't as exciting because, to be 100% honest, I wasn't looking at it. I was looking down because I thought it was the mini. So
you mean like the Huff and Puff one? So you didn't see it land?
Because I saw it going slow, and usually that means it's the mini. So I looked down at my phone or something, and that's when it happened. But
that must have been crazy to look up and see it, though. Still,
yeah, I finally saw the big, coin come out, and it was definitely exciting. But I'd say the biggest one for me, the Dragon Link was exciting, but the Buffalo Link I won, just knowing, like, I had just said to a friend I saw in the casino, I was checking out of the hotel. I was down for the night. And for me, if I'm down 500, I'm kind of like, walking out with my head down. And I said, oh, I forgot there's extra free play this day, whatever it was. And so I went, and I'm like, I'm just going to play my free play. And I ended up winning a little bit to play for a little while. And within minutes, it hit that grand. And I actually recorded that one, which is very rare for me to actually get my biggest wins on video, because a lot of times I'm not recording.
How much was that one for?
That one was over 12,000 and
Nice.
it was a month before Christmas. So I was like, this is great. And to see it flashing in there was just so amazing and so unexpected.
Christmas came early.
Yeah, Christmas came really early. And then BC Slots reposted it and I was like, I started
Oh,
like fangirling at home and my husband's like, what happened? I said, oh my God, BC Slots reposted my grand.
that's sick.
And he a lot of times he doesn't know what that means and is like, "Oh, okay. Is that good?" And I said, "Well, yeah, kind of one of the
Oh,
top
that's so awesome. What's like
guys."
the cherry on top of that experience, I'm sure.
Yeah, exactly. And it was great to have that kind of extra cash at that time of year. Um and just know that it was so unexpected. And I finally got it on camera, so I felt like a double win on that one.
Congratulations. That's so sweet. I mean, I know what goes into maintaining a YouTube channel, really of any size. Slots YouTube, even more kind of high stakes. So, and also all the time that you've played. So I can only imagine like the payoff emotionally of getting something like that after putting so much time playing and also work into your channel. So congratulations. And like, it's so exciting looking at your channel. There's so many highlights of like great clips, but also like they really hit with the audience. It's really cool to see.
Yeah, that's been the great part because, at at my age and being tech savvy, which I'm not, to have to learn how to edit videos and learn the whole YouTube kind of systems and how to do all of this, it's been just eye-opening. And, I just I take it as a blessing every day that like I even have people watching. I just hit 5,000 last night, subscribers. And, to a lot of people, that's like, are you kidding? That's nothing. But when you have one subscriber and you never dream of the day you're going to have 5,000, let alone now my next goal would obviously be 10. It's just kind of like people are actually watching what I'm doing and they like it for the most part, except the people that don't like my voice.
Uh, well, it's crazy because people are just like they're desensitized to numbers on YouTube and social media, where they're like you see these million numbers all the time. But anyone out there, try to get to 5,000 on YouTube with organic content and see how much work. You can get lucky, but honestly, it's hard. It's really hard. Like the huge majority of people never get to 1,000 subscribers on YouTube. So
Yeah. I mean, it's easy to give up because you're putting out videos and they're getting 20 views and one of them is you. So it's like you can't feel great about that, but when you have a video that gets over 250,000 views and you actually have now hit 1 million views, it's just kind of like, wow, I found my niche. I found a schedule that works for me. When I tried to do too many videos in a week, I felt too much pressure. I don't get to go to the casino that often and film. It's maybe once or twice a month I actually get to do that. So to be able to keep up with the content you need to do when you're doing that many videos, it was too much and that burnt me out. And the thing that I'm appreciative of that I got to come back to it and it's still there and it's actually gaining traction now.
yeah, congratulations. I know it didn't happen overnight, and it takes a lot of work. So way to go. I love your thumbnails. Who makes them?
I do.
Great work. They're sick. They look so good. They're very
Thank
catchy.
you.
Yeah. It's a cool learning curve for creators because you're so immersed and you're so tied to the results that you really get good at these really important things. So we make all kinds of slots content, and we're always learning from creators because it feels like they're the most knowledgeable and they care the most about it.
Yeah, it was another thing that I had to learn how to do on YouTube, how to make thumbnails. And actually recently before I did the Huff and Puff palaces, I knew I had a good video in there. Like I knew I did. And I said I've got to spend half a day on this thumbnail. And I did. It took me a long time, but I said, I can't let this video just fail like my other ones have. I really have to stand out. I have to have a thumbnail that grabs people's attention. And thankfully, after hours and hours, I figured it out.
No, they look good. The titles are really good too. It seems like maybe your familiarity with Huff and Puff helps when it comes to like showing off what's exciting and eye-catching visually as well as like keyword wise. So yeah, no, I'm love the channel. I'm so excited to see you. We didn't talk about it too much, but you've only recently put your, kind of come out and shown your face, a face reveal on your channel. So it's so nice to meet you, and it's so nice to put a face to the channel that I've watched.
Thank you so much.
Do you have anything coming up? It sounds like you're juggling a lot, which is great, like personal life, Slots YouTube star. What do you have planned? I know that you travel around kind of California, Nevada. Do you have any trips coming up, or is there any highlights that we should watch out for? Make sure people subscribe for it to catch on your channel.
I am going, now that I've hit 5,000 subs, I will be planning another live stream. I really love going live. I know a lot of people don't, but I really love it. Even with all my technical difficulties, I get to interact with the people that watch my channel, and we get to talk and have live communication, which is really great. And I really enjoy that.
That's so often where the real like relationships are formed, in the live chat of lives. It's super cool.
Yes.
I can see that you went to vertical live stream the last time you went live. There's some big potential in that format for sure.
Yeah, I unfortunately have technical difficulties, and I keep doing it the wrong way. I know some people like it not vertical, so I'm going to kind of play with both and see what works. But I really enjoy it. And so I want to keep doing things like that for my viewers too, because then I can play different machines as well. And they're more open to seeing different machines on the live rather than just my long form content.
That's interesting. Yeah. The long form stuff's so dictated by like the keywords and the game that you're playing and everything.
Right.
Well, I can't wait to tune in to your future live streams, and we'll share them. I know we can collaborate on socials on this content, but we're really excited to help promote your channel, and we wish you the best of luck, and we'd love to have you back on the show when you hit 10,000 subs, which I'm sure won't be too long from now.
Oh, thank you. I really appreciate it. This was a lot of fun.